Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So to bring you up to speed, I finished my flower and I'll bring it up to the camera. Actually, I'll zoom in, it's easier. Then I'm not wobbling around the place so you can see the little details. Okay, so I ended up doing some beading all the way through these two petals. I tried very hard not to do the same thing over the whole flower. I sort of would think of something different to work it. I think I came back at the end of the last video and went through this anyway, but I'll just recap if you haven't seen the last one, last Friday. I did a little bit of running stitch around a few of the petals, some little cross stitches, the beading like I just said, and then just some more of those pistol stitches and what's the name of that stitch? It's like a lazy daisy. Oh, it's gone. It's too early in the morning to think of these names, but I just did some random stitches. Now, what I want to do today is actually tackle this little bird. I had some thread left at the end of the filming of this video, and you can see under his chin there, I put just a few little strokes of stitch. See that there under his eye? So just kept it simple, loose. I've been debating for a while how to tackle him because he's so beautiful. The fabric or the artist before me has done a really good job at creating the imagery of him, and I don't want to destroy it with some big chunky stitches. So the plan is, I've got my cottons nearby. He's in an array of colours, is to probably just use 2 strands of cotton or keep it, really thin. Where's my needle gone? I'll leave it zoomed in. I hope I can stay within shot. I'll try and remember to look up. And I'm just going to do some little strokes of stitches to mimic feathers on the little bird. Now, I do want to keep in my mind the direction of which the feathers would lie. So I've got black thread here. I'm going to try and make them lay away from his eye at a radiating sort of, yeah. I won't make the stitches too long. This is probably the worst colour to start with for you guys, but I'm sure you'll get the general gist soon enough. So I'm just putting, some are close together, some aren't. It's like wispiness, like he's so beautiful that I don't want to make him all chunky. Like even putting a stitch in his eye is very fraught with danger because I could lose the effect that the artist has done in the eye. So I think it's best I just tread lightly with my stitches. So that's the plan, is just to see what we can do to enhance and even when I look at that black section, it's actually black and then there's pockets of grey in there as well. Gosh, it's amazing the layers that have gone into printing this, layer upon layer of colour to build up this detail. Very clever. Used to love that at home economics when we did screen printing. And we only worked with half a dozen colours, but I just got such a thrill out of seeing my image come alive because of the printing technique. You put a colour down and then another colour and another colour. I remember, gosh, here's a memory that's just flooded back. I had this doona cover on my bed as a kid, and it was all oranges and browns and yellows, and you know, picture the 70s. But it wasn't as gaudy as that. It was more of a florally sort of piece, and it was such a good example of layers of colour from a screen printing technique. And after I did that class, I used to always stare into it. I used to lose myself in that doona cover, literally looking at how they built up the colours and the design. And it was nearly like a what's the word for it, very scrolly, and I don't know. I feel like I'm half asleep. I shouldn't be telling stories in this condition. I'll think of the word. Don't ask me the name of any stitches. It's going to be a bit of a lackluster information video, I think. So I finished stitching around his eye, and I've done a sweep right around like the clock face. I'm just looking at the top of his beak there, and there's a little bit of black, like I think we could do like a little tuft. Yeah, just a few little stitches to signify there's a few feathers going in that opposite direction. Oh, this is going to be great. Just toot my own horn while I'm at it. I think this is going to enhance his colours a lot. Now I'm going to drop below his beak, pop in a couple stitches there. I'm really looking forward to the blue bits. It's whether I've got a nice enough blue, because it's a real vibrant blue. Having said that, I look in there and I can see teal as well as blue. Oh, I spent hours yesterday looking at quotes for this. I'm starting to see the same ones now. Heaps and heaps of spring. Like I typed into Google quotes for spring, quotes for flowers, quotes for blossoms, changing of the seasons, you know, those sorts of prompts for Google to throw me up something. And I was like, I'd read them, and some bits of it I really liked, and then the next sentence is like, oh gosh, that's corny. I started looking at them with the idea of piecing together something from numerous quotes. But then I was like, no, there must be something there. Keep looking, keep looking. Like nearly 40 minutes went by. I was lying on the bed doing it, and I was like, oh my goodness. My arm got sore from flicking. Lying there flicking. So I'm now down into his chest area, just with a few little stitches. I might scoot down onto his back there. Get all the black done. And then that's out of the way. You can see how it's got stronger in colour. It's not as washed out. I've got to be so careful. I think it'll be right. We're enhancing him. We're not painting him in fully. You can see where I've been with the black. Okay, that's my little scissors. I did a bit of work on the border too. I anchored this spot down here. I know the quote will go there, so I felt confident enough to anchor that down. And I used the yarn that we've been using on all the petals, so it sort of ties it all together. I then put this piece of ticking here and did some running stitch over it. I then started building up some pieces here, and it was like a bit of a patchworky thing happening. That's a piece that I dyed with the Fleur Woods course. So it's going to be lovely actually to have bits and pieces from projects that I'm currently doing at the moment at this time of the year. So when I look at this in the future and I realise, oh, there's my mulberry fabric, it'll make me think of the Fleur Woods course, for example. So I'm really, really pleased that literally what's on my desk is making its way to the piece to be snillier. Oh gosh, I'm getting a sentimental here. It's a time capsule of my work at the moment. Does that make sense? Anyway. All right. Detached chain stitch, I believe is what that stitch is called. There's a flash of brilliance come out of the mind. It's probably not the right stitch. I'm sure someone out there will correct me. All right, let's just whip through here with a few black stitches. And we can get some interesting colours. We might go back up to his head and work on those blues. If we get our colours and then decide whether it drifts down onto his body or not. There we go. Just a hint through there of black. Might even come up now down his tail. There's a little bit across his back there. There's a grey too. I just noticed a grey there. It's nice and dark. Got cottons flipping around here everywhere. Let's just sneak through here with a few stitches. Gonna try and keep that a little bit more random. Just a couple. There we go. Well, I hope you all had a good week. Isn't the year ticking along now? My goodness. It really is. There we go. I think I worked out we've got 6 more episodes. This is number 6 as we count down towards the end of the spring season. Is that right? Okay. Is that right? I don't know. Told you I felt tired. I just want to stitch. I don't want to think. Let's go to the blue department. I'll bring it into shot so you can see. Might just bring it up a little bit. Now we've got to find quite a crisp, iridescent. I think it might be that one. Yeah, that'll be pretty good. And we might look for a turquoisey tone as well. There we go. Yeah, that's good for under there. Under his little wing there, there's a little bit of that. And then we need a pale, real pale, grey bluey tone. It's fraught with danger, isn't it? Yeah, that might be. All right, let's get those 3 out. So you would never have thought to put them together. That's why it's fun to do this with prints that you absolutely love, and then just follow what the designer's done, and it often will put together things that you would never have thought to do, mixing different blues, and can be quite interesting. You sort of get a snapshot into the designer's mind. Okay, let's grab my needle. Oops. Okay, knock that off. Bandit's come to the window, and I've got Pepper here beside me, and I just don't want them to woof and carry on. All right, so what we might do is we'll stand the feathers up. What do you think, Pepper? Hey, what do you think? You're getting all this special treatment because of your puppies. Okay. Let's zoom in actually so you can see the action unfold. There he is. Oh yeah, that's a good match. Gives him that wispy, like feathers standing on the top of his head. Get a few standing up. Oh, I love him, I love him. See, I'm thinking my poem needs to say something about little birds. Because for spring, for me, is watching those nests being built as little birds gather up Pepper and Bandit's fur. I can't write that, but that's not exactly romantic and whimsical about spring. Watching little birds gather up dog fur to make their nests. And there's usually a few windy days in amongst it, so you sort of think of them hanging on for dear life, and you hope that their nests are secure enough and they don't have to start again. And then within a few weeks, you've suddenly got all these little birds around, or young magpies around, and as they're all coming out of their nests. And then another windy day, and you think, oh, hang in there, kids. That's what spring is for me. Probably more the little birds than the flowers. Probably summer is more flowers for me. Yeah, okay, that narrows my poem, my words down. It'd be a birds hatching more so than flowers springing in. There we go, happy with that. Just puts that little punch of blue with that black. Now we might have a look at the turquoisey colour. It's never been used. These are some of the new colours. I was at Spotlight the other day, and there's all these new numbers, and the colours are sort of more on trend. Does that make sense? Like this colour is, for example, is sort of something that feels a bit more now than their previous tones. Okay, so this, oh, now that I've threaded that, I don't even think that's the right colour for there. feel like it's more up in here, yeah, and down in his wing. Just a couple stitches there, and then we'll come down into here. Might do that at a bit of an angle. I was going to go back towards his tail, but I think we might point to his feet. Yeah, I think I need to revisit the blues to get something in the same tone as that dark blue, but slightly paler. There we go. Just a little hint of that turquoise. Oh, he's coming together. And we haven't gone too overboard, I don't think. All right, let's knot that one off. All right, let's have a play with this guy across his tail, the top of his tail. This is an old girl. All right. Which way are we going to go? I think we'll do an angle that way. Sort of feel like these would be laying down across the back of the bird. There we go. Yeah, I like that. That's blending in nicely. But I must admit, when I look into this now, I'm seeing a paler version and a slightly darker version. But at a glance, I might just stay away from the dark areas and let them still come through, because if I totally cover this in, it'll start looking very flat because I'm using this one colour. So I'm going to skip around here a little bit and not completely. Now I'm going to come at a different angle now, I think. Sort of like pointed down to his bottom now. Trying to show that there's a bit of a nap to his feathers. Yeah, I like that. All right. Yeah, that's good. Ruffled feathers. Now, I'm going to put those back in the container and see if I can find a brighter blue. It needs to be more fresher. Maybe that one. Yeah, see, that's a newer colour. I don't know, they just look different to the previous colours that DMC's always done. Yeah, that's good. Oh, it's 3 threads. It doesn't matter. I hope not. Let's get up here onto the top of his head. That one's 826. I might just lay a few back into that previous blue, sort of blend a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Very pretty little fellow. All right. Well, that was so worth the effort. Tiny few little stitches, but that's all good. Okay. Now, what are we going to do? Maybe we deal with this grey next. There's not a lot of it around, so let's get that. Two stitch. Okay. So I sort of need to run my eyes back to where that black was, and I think it's up at the end of the tail that I notice this grey. There's a lot of taupey grey colours too. Come on, thread the needle. I've made it easy on myself, and I'm using a crewel needle so that I've got a decent eye. Okay. How do I get two different lengths? Oh, it's broken away. Gee, good quality, isn't that? It's disintegrated into a fluffy little thread. All right, where am I thinking? I'm thinking over here on that tail, just underneath that black. And it gets lighter and lighter and lighter as I go down towards his bottom. Let's get this dark in. Like, some would look at this and say, why would you bother? You can barely see your stitches and the impact that they're having, but isn't it part of the fun? Okay. Few up through there. Couple more back here. I might be able to sneak forward and put a few under his chin, or not his chin, sort of just behind his his ears. Just in here, under his chin there. Probably could have even been black. But we'll whack these in, that'll be right. I don't think we're gonna ruin the integrity of the design in any way. At the end of the day, he's not going to be totally stitched. This is just enhancing him with a bit of texture. That way, if you do glance at the little bird when you look at this piece, you will see some stitching in there. That's good. I did a couple of feather stitches down here too. Good morning, Bandit. Heard a dog woof in the distance, and then he's replied. Wonder what they said. All right, let's put the grey away. Now I'm going to have a look at some taupey sorts of tones next, I think. Like the top of his head leading into that zone. So, yeah, that's a good one. He's coming together. I'll be so pleased when he's done, because he's been that one thing on the piece that I kept glancing and thinking about. How was I going to tackle it? And I just woke up this morning and thought, right, I was going to try and do this writing today, but I can't get a sentence together. Alrighty, let's have a little play with the back of his neck, and we'll do them at an angle like that, I think. Little strokes. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like that. Lovely. That's a great colour for that little spot. I could probably skip around in a few places with this particular colour, but one must be careful that it doesn't start looking blocky, because I think there's nearly a paler version of that just below where I am. Might get a few stitches pointing up there. Let's get some feathers pointing to the sky, just to change that nap a little bit. And I might just put a few little ones in amongst it, just to soften the stroke. What have we got here happening? Yep, that's better. Okay, I might do that little bit over his back next to that blue that we put in. It'd be a shame to get to the end of this process and go, oh, can't even really notice what I did. I think I will. There we go, little bird. He's coming along. I think the secret is not to make your stitches too dense, because then it starts looking like a blob of colour. I'm going to scoot down here, pop a few in there. Then I might drop down to the second lot of blue here and just drop a few in there. It's quite a lot of colours and markings in there. But it's all good, just one at a time. I might just come now to the back of that blue. Drop a few in over here. Like the edge of his little wing. Scooting to the rear there. It's starting to build that shape of that wing. I might get some more thread because I can see more areas there that I think this colour will work. It's grab another one of those. It's been great having this every Friday for me. It's just that one project that I can just pick up and lose myself in. Don't have to think too hard. It's just stitch. Letting someone else's design dictate where I go. So I'm back on that wing. I just want to capture that shape of that, I nearly said petal, that one feather coming out like there. I'm just doing a split back stitch so it blends nicely. It does have a pale tip on it. So I'm just going to back up a bit and just come back through the top of that a little bit as well. So as we've got that lineal line there, don't lose that because it's quite a little feature, that line of his wing. Now we might just scoot to his tail feather now and do a similar thing, get a nice long lineal he's got a bit of black on the tip of his tail, so remember that, guys. Let's get some lineal stitches in. There could nearly be a khaki colour come into this too. Calendar reminding me of something. I don't think I've got anything happening today. Why would the calendar be telling me something? Have I forgotten something? That's concerning. Don't think there's anything on. What possibly should I be doing other than sitting here and stitching with you guys? Should I pick up the phone and check in case there's impending doom? Let's just finish this stitch first. Then I'm going to grab a paler taupia, more of a creamier tone, and just scoot back through all of those areas just to pop a bit of light into him. It's going up. Like, I'm sure you're looking at it going, what is the effort here going to reward her with? Okay, let's get rid of that colour. I think we're done with that one. Let's check the calendar. I'm worried now that there's something going on. Oh, there's a embroidery YouTube video. Oh no, that was the week before. I don't know. It's nothing important as long as it's not a, you know, I'm supposed to be there somewhere for somebody. But nope, doing my own thing. Tidy that thread up. Now, I need a paler version of that. And I'm thinking this might be it, just to bounce a little bit of light around him. Get 2. Now I'll go back around that tail feather area on the top edge of it all and just lay a few of these in to get that light back into him. Probably could have gone even lighter. There's a whole gap here. Maybe I'll use this here. That'll help. That nearly had a bluish tone about it, that spot. Well, not now. It is now this taupey, pale taupe colour. I'll leave a bit of blue pop through just so it doesn't look too flat. Now I'll come back to that wing and change the angle of my stitches a bit so the wing looks like it's flicking up. Yeah, that's good. Do a couple more feathers like that. Just changing the directions of your stitch sometimes is enough to give movement to something. So you get away from that flat satin stitch look. This is definitely a lot more liberating, I guess, is the word for this type of stitching. Takes the pressure off everything having to lay so rigid and flat and gorgeous, like in crewel work. All right, I think that's pretty good. I could find something chocolatey next, I think. Something, might go a little dark, just to give him a bit of punch. Taupey colours tend to wash things out a bit, and I think we could do with, I really liked how that black gave a bit of definition to him. So I'm going to do a little bit of this chocolate up through here. Just give him a little bit of and then I might drop a few little stitches. Where am I going to go? Might drop a few little stitches through here. Not too big, Corinne. Not too big. Yeah, that's it. Just a few little V stitches and things, just to bounce a few little freckles around there. Get some gaps between a few of these things here. There we go. Some freckles along his back. Gosh, was that even on camera? It's like the bane of our abilities. Can we stay in focus and on camera? Alrighty. Now, Let's have a little look. I don't think I'm going to do anything else in that zone back there because there's so many colours. I don't want to get it too blocky. I might find a grey for there, and I nearly need a dirty grey. Yeah, maybe a little bit of that. It's a silvery grey. It's not even a dirty grey, but gee, I've used it a few times, it would seem. That's what we need, just a little morsel of thread. Okay. Oh, look at the time. For goodness sakes. I think this grey that I'm doing here now could even come around his bottom. How many colours has this bird got on it? I thought an hour would have this little fella sorted. Not even on camera. So I'm starting to rush now. Look, slow down, girl. You are not going to achieve what you need to achieve in 15 minutes. Yeah, like that. That really looks good. Let's take this grey now down to his... Right before the end of this video, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on his chest. I want it to look completely different. So I'll keep fiddling with these random colours like I am. Let's go to his bottom next. But before we part ways, we'll do a little bit of work on his chest because I want to use a little feathery stitch to really make it look a bit special. So I'm just sneaking down the, excuse me, his back end. Yeah, that's good. It just defines that spot, and I'm coming up into there just a little bit, just to start drifting a bit of that grey through there, but it's nearly a green. It's an olive green coming in. Gosh, how many colours have I said so far? So I told you this little guy was daunting. I think pretty much all the birds I've chosen are like this. They've got heaps and heaps of colours. Okay, so he's got his grey little bottom. Let's see if we can find a green. Where's the green? Like an olive, a dirty olive green to go through here. They all look so fresh. Could nearly be that one. It's probably not dirty enough. And this one is the right tone, but it's nearly too bright. I think the first one. All right, we'll give it a go. Doesn't matter, does it? I'm overthinking it probably. This bird's really becoming a focus, isn't it? 10 minutes. All right. I guess if it's too bright, I can go over it with some darker tones. Let's start up under his tail feather there. Very similar to the grey, so that's good. It's not going to stand out and look like a distinct yeah, that's good. it's holding its own against that taupey long feathery line that we just did. Go back through that whole zone again. There we go. It's getting a bit dark there. I might drop down to here and put a few little stitches up into there instead. I feel like we need another olivey green to drop down under there, that zone through there. That's enough of that one. And I just don't think I've got anything that will be even close to that colour. Because I don't want to get too green as in a plant. We sort of want that unless I go really dark. Maybe this. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just do one thread just to back it off a little bit, but at least there's something there. It's nearly a bluey green, but it's like the colour in this leaf. Yeah, that'll do. And I think once I come through with the rest of the feathers, that'll be pushed back even more, but there's something there. If I keep them far apart, it will look like just movement of colour and depth there, like there's a deeper, darker plumage underneath those feathers. And it's not flat looking. Yeah, just a few little scattered. All right. I think that will do. If I do any more, it'll, a couple more down here. Yeah, that's good. It's just given a bit of darkness to his bottom there because there's no light down there. That's shadowy. Can come right down underneath his tummy there, I think. Yep. All right, put it down. I could feel like I could come up under his tail feather too. His tail, under his tail there looks a bit too bright for me. So let's just use this last bit, even if it's only like 4 or 5 stitches. I feel like we need something in here leading up to the tail. That grey is just a little bit too bright. Needs to be broken up a little bit. It's a bit, he's a bit patchy back there and he needs to be a bit more blended, I think is what I'm trying to say. That's better. Okay. Now, let's spend 5 minutes, which usually ends up being another 15 minutes, on his chest feathers, because I really want to be brave and try a different stitch. So we need a a colour like a golden wheaty sort of colour, I think. All right. It'll be a mix of a few colours, I think, down there, but we can't go too crazy and really fill it in. Okay. Now I'm going to work back towards myself and just pick up little bits of fabric and then anchor the stitch down. Just work my way back through his body, and then when there's a darker area, I'm just going to sort of ignore it to some degree and then come back through with a darker thread and just drop a few in over it, the same style of stitch. So we're completely changing our stitch now. We're doing this little V stitch or Y stitch. Just to get that something different into him. Otherwise he'd look same. Then where there's little white dots, remember I said I'd noticed that it's like the artist had flicked a brush over him and he had splatters of paint. I want to go through with a very small French knot or colonial knot and just drop a few little knots. I did even consider using a tiny bead, but now that I've completed the stitching side of things, I'm thinking just a couple little knots here and there, like freckles. Been thinking about the branch too. I could do something really bold and get a dark chocolate and just etch it in like I've been doing. But I have a feeling that if I did scatter colour up the branches, it would just disappear. I think it has to be something that stands out a little. So I'm still pretty keen on the twine idea. Couching down some twine so at least it looks like a brown stick. Ow. Now I'll leave it at that for that colour, because down here where my fingernail is, it's a little lighter again. So let's see if we can find a buttery colour next. Oh, come on. I'm rushing. Just do a knot. The moment you rush, it all goes pear-shaped, doesn't it? All right, see if we can find a more, yeah, there we go, a yellow buttery tone like that one. Just so that we've got that little bit of light bouncing off his chest. I might even bring a little bit of this up under his eye. Oh, there's the hour. We'll finish this colour and then I'll let you all go and you can start your days. If you're watching in the morning, that is, or finish your day, or you've probably already dozed off to sleep if you're watching in bed, like I do a lot of YouTube. All right, so this buttery colour is going to come up through here to meet that white. Looks like little bird footprints, this stitch. So I thought it would look really cool on his little feathers. Plus it gets a bit of movement down around his tummy. Yeah, that's good. That's blended really well with the white and keeping it away from the tail of him where it's a lot darker and shaded and moody. I don't think I'd put any more colours in, to be honest. There we go. All right. One more, and then I think that thread will be done. And I will say goodbye, and I'll just sit here for another 5 minutes and just layer in some more little tones of colour. And I'll drop some little French knots around the place, probably in white, just to get that splattered look back, because I think that's really cool. There we go. There's our little bird all stitched. I'll bring a bit of that yellow that I just had in under his eye around the back here. But yeah, he's great. I love him. All right, guys, have a great day and hope you get some stitching done, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.